Summer, 1947. The New Mexico desert lay silent under a sky heavy with heat and Cold War tension. The world had survived World War II, yet fear lingered. Whispers of Soviet advancement, nuclear secrets, and strange sightings in the sky. In this vast emptiness, where silence stretched beyond the horizon, something would fall that would ignite one of history's greatest mysteries. In the early hours of a stormy night, witnesses reported a flash cutting across the heavens, brighter than lightning, faster than any aircraft known. Something crashed northwest of Roswell, leaving a trail of questions in the sky. This moment, unnoticed by most of the world, would soon fuel decades of speculation. The next morning, rancher Mac Brazel found metallic fragments scattered across his land, thin, flexible materials that returned to shape when crushed. There were beams with strange symbols and pieces unlike any aircraft wreck he had seen. Confused and unsettled, he gathered what he could and headed for town. When Brazel reported his discovery, the Roswell Army airfield acted swiftly. Within hours, soldiers arrived at the ranch. Trucks rolled across the plains, officers barked orders, and the debris was seized with a silence more powerful than force. Something important had fallen, and the military knew it. July 8, 1947. The Army made an extraordinary announcement. They had recovered a flying disc. Newspapers exploded with headlines. Radios buzzed. For one breathtaking moment, the world believed humanity was no longer alone. Then, suddenly, everything changed. Excitement turned to confusion as the military issued a second statement. The disc was merely a weather balloon. The tone shifted from triumph to denial in hours. Why announce a discovery only to retract it? Was it a mistake or a strategy? Locals later recalled military pressure, warnings not to talk, threats that sounded more like commands than advice. The silence that followed wasn't natural, it was ordered. Fear spread faster than truth. To reassure the public, the military displayed a balloon and foil fragments. It looked unconvincing, flimsy scraps compared to witness descriptions. It seemed less a truth and more a performance. Whispers began, not just of debris, but bodies. Strange passengers, not human. Witnesses would later claim stretchers, sealed crates, and guards who looked shaken. The story was expanding beyond metal fragments into life and death. Rumors pointed to a sealed building, Hangar 84 at Roswell. Trucks arrived under darkness. Armed guards stood rigid. Inside, some believed, lay evidence the world was never meant to see. America moved on. The Cold War deepened. Roswell became a footnote, a strange story half remembered. But the silence never erased the questions. It only buried them deeper. For decades, official files stayed locked. Researchers asked questions and met closed doors. The crash was filed away under secrecy, stamped not for history, but for control. In the 1970s and 80s, witnesses broke their silence. Aging soldiers, nurses, workers. Their voices carried decades of weight. If it was just a balloon, why did fear follow the story for so long? Modern investigators found radar records, witness maps, missing logs. Scientists debated physics, aeronautics, and memory. Skeptics mocked. Believers dug deeper. Between the two stood history, incomplete, echoing, unresolved. Today, Roswell remains a symbol of secrecy, of wonder, and of the human need to understand what lies beyond. Whether it was a craft from another world or a Cold War experiment hidden from the public, one thing is certain: Roswell refuses to fade. Some stories don't die, because truth has a way of returning to the light. The New Mexico desert still breathes with secrets. Wind sweeps across the plains where men once whispered and soldiers watched the sky. Files remain locked, stories remain guarded, yet the truth echoes, refusing to be buried. Was it a weather balloon? A Cold War experiment? Or the first silent visitor from beyond our world? Whatever fell here, it changed history. Not with answers, but with questions powerful enough to outlive generations. In Roswell, silence speaks, and somewhere between what we saw and what we were told lies a truth waiting for the courage to be revealed. Until then, we watch the skies,